I bet I can change your mind by the end of this video. If you're someone struggling with mental health, wanting to start a new career or business, or you're someone that just wants to improve their life, I'm going to share with you exactly what I did to change my life in 3 months. So if you want to achieve your most ambitious goals, you're going to want to listen. Instead of using antidepressants or going and seeing a psychologist, I use these tactics to go from totally lost, having zero confidence, having addiction issues, overcoming a learning disability, to being the person that your friends talk about, saying phrases like, have you heard how good Russell Mortlock's doing in real estate? Step number 1 to change your life in 3 months is we have to become extremely self-aware. And this is probably going to be the hardest part for anyone watching this video, is having that self-awareness can be extremely difficult. So what you need to do is have an internal conversation on what do I actually need to remove from my life in order to change it and achieve my goals. Here's where every single person gets goal achievement wrong. They think it's about adding more things. I got to add these next 3 things in order to make $1 million. When really what's going to get you to achieve these goals most of the time is having the self-awareness on what do I need to remove from my life in order to become this person, or in order to start that new career, or in order for you to reach the goals that you've set for yourself. Because in reality, the things that you need to remove is what is holding you back from achieving them. And so I'll share a bit of a personal story. For me, I have an addictive personality. This has now served me very well in my career of building my business. But before that, it served me extremely poorly and caused me to have massive downward spirals. I caused it having like a midlife crisis between like the age of 18 and 21. So for me, the breakthrough point was using this self-awareness and using step 1 of removing something from my life in order for me to change it. And for me, that one thing was removing drinking alcohol. I had a very unhealthy relationship with alcohol, so I completely eliminated it from my life. And yes, it did suck. I was totally alone for a period of time because the only thing that I did with my friends was go out and party. And after getting over this period of loneliness, it completely changed my lifestyle, removing alcohol. I now had a ridiculous amount of time on my hands, where before I used to spend this time partying, staying out late, being extremely hungover the next days, and just repeated the cycle one day after another. Where now, when I woke up in the morning, I was no longer hungover. I was able to provide this extra time that I had in the day to learning skills and building my business. And however, I just didn't make this change instantly, because for the first period of time when I stopped drinking alcohol, I had a very lonely period and didn't quite know what to do with myself. I was pretty much sitting there twiddling my thumbs. However, but it was the single thing that got me going in the right direction and started me to pursue some things that I was quite interested in, which ended up being real estate investing. And it was crazy. I used to thought I had really bad anxiety and had depression, and then when I quit drinking alcohol, these practically disappeared from my life. Little disclaimer, I'm definitely not a medical doctor. I'm just speaking from past experience of what's helped me. But anytime someone I talk to is saying that they do have anxiety or they do have some sort of depression, I always ask them, how often are you drinking? Not just like having a couple casual drinks, like how often are you getting drunk? And almost in every single case, they binge drink on the weekends. And they phrase it as, hey, this is what I need in order to blow off some steam, in order to relax, in order to get away from whatever they're dealing with from a day-to-day. However, the weekend warrior lifestyle is for the average. And I think every single person that's watching this video is not trying to be average. And I can personally guarantee you, if you quit drinking alcohol for 3 months or even an entire year, your anxiety and depression will improve. And yes, it does totally suck when you go start hanging out with your friends again and you're the one sitting there drinking soda water and you don't seem to have as much energy and enthusiasm as the rest of the crowd. But if you're someone that's seriously looking to achieve your goals, removing this one aspect is what gets you the time, gets you chemically balanced so you can stay focused on what the tasks are at hand. And if you're not willing to give up one thing in order for you to achieve your goals and stay focused mentally and not have those chemical imbalances for your mental health in order for you to feel better, everything else that I'm going to share in this YouTube video won't really matter. So you should probably go on to the next one. Step number 2 to changing your life in 3 months is gaining confidence. 99% of people will misinterpret what confidence really is. It's like a muscle that we need to build up. And I'm going to share with you how I went from being extremely insecure to having a high level of confidence no matter what task at hand or who I'm dealing with. This high level of internal confidence gave me enough personal belief to quit my high-income job, start a business, and move to a city where I knew no one and had no connections. So if you want to change your life in 3 months, we have to start developing this internal confidence. We have to start flexing and building up those muscles. And this isn't what we project out into the world, because a lot of people that seem the most confident are quite insecure. When I'm referring of confidence, that is the internal conversation that you have with yourself in your mind every single day. And this is where confidence stems from. And trust me, there still is days that I doubt myself almost every single day and really I'm like, am I able to do this? But if you can build that internal confidence, I'm going to share exactly how you can do that in a personal story. It won't matter what's at hand. You're going to know that you're going to be able to do it. You're going to be able to build the skills to do it or have the perseverance to achieve what you set out. So I'm going to share with you 2 personal stories. One where I had a lot of confidence and one where I didn't. Let's go back to when I was 18. I was your typical Canadian. I graduated with absolutely horrible grades. So literally my only option was go to some sort of oil and gas job or continue to play hockey and give me some time to figure out what the heck I was going to do with my life. And one thing that I'm going to constantly refer back to is that internal conversation that you have with yourself. So when I was going through this period of time, I was setting out that I wanted to maintain a lot of focus and I knew I had to get better if I was going to play junior hockey for some team. I ended up being really focused for an entire summer, made some major improvements in my game, and trained really, really hard physically in order to get in the best shape possible. Me knowing that I was lagging in skill, I was going to have to be in incredible shape in order to stick out to make a team. And then when I went to the tryouts, I ended up getting a severe injury that put me on the shelf, and I had to go back to my hometown where I was going to be hurt for a quiet period of time. And with my parents, they're like, okay, why don't we just maybe explore what it looks like you getting into university or college? But when I went and met with the counselors and everything, I was going to have to upgrade my entire last year of high school in order just to get into any college to accept me in any program. And then I ended up getting a call from a different team who said that I was able to come out and try out and potentially play for them. I went to move to that city, started the rehabilitation process, which for me was going out partying a lot. I didn't get back into good shape. And then all of a sudden I had recovered from my injury and I was literally a couple steps behind because I wasn't doing what I should have in order to prepare myself to come back from it. And so how do you think my confidence was knowing that I physically wasn't in the best shape that I could be, that I've been staying out late, I've been drinking a ton, I've been partying, not doing all the things that was going to ensure that I had success when coming back and playing for this team. My confidence was extremely low, and for that entire rest of the season, I was never able to regain that confidence because the internal conversation with myself knew that not once did I do what I had to in order to be a top player in this team or to actually be given some better opportunities than what I was getting. So just in my own mind, I practically knew that I was going to fail and have no success because I was never staying true to my word. I would say, hey, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to go out and I'm going to start getting back in shape. I'm going to start doing some conditioning. I'm going to start lifting again. I'm going to start skating. And then I would end up being hungover. I didn't feel like it. And I just repeat the cycle. So my confidence is dwindled and dwindled and dwindled till all of a sudden I had recovered from the injury and literally was just a blob. But the great part about these struggling times is it actually taught me how to face adversity and not what to do if I wanted to actually achieve my goals. So when I started my real estate investing business, I legit did the opposite of everything that I was doing before. Instead of staying out late, partying and drinking, I literally quit drinking. I started going to bed early and getting up early, where then I was working out again. I gotten back into really good shape. So then mentally, I felt very good. I had the confidence that I was looking good as well. But then with waking up early, I started reading books, and I had never read an entire book in my life. So then I started reading about investing, reading and inquiring a ton of knowledge on business and investing that no one else in my sphere of where I worked or who I was connected with really knew. So once I started having this more knowledge on wealth creation, I started budgeting what I would spend in a month more, setting out specific guidelines and targets for me to meet in order to start this real estate investing business and start buying properties. But because I was staying true to my word, I was getting up early, I wasn't drinking anymore, I was going to the gym, I had a ton of confidence and I knew I was reading more, I was studying more than anyone else, that there was no stopping me. I literally felt invincible during this period of time because I was staying true to my word. I had so much internal confidence because I was doing what I was saying. If I said I was going to wake up at 4 a.m. to hit the gym and read for 2 hours before I went and pulled wrenches for 12 hours, I did it. If I said I wasn't going to spend a certain amount of money, that I needed to save $100,000 in order to buy a duplex, I did it. And every time I stayed true to my word and I had all these micro wins, it led to me becoming very extremely confident, where people who I worked with and were around me literally thought I was different. They thought I had a lot more swagger, and they thought I was just displaying a ton more confidence, and had literally changed just in a 3-month period of time from being true to my word. And actually, that internal conversation you have with when you say you're going to do something, you do it, is the single best way to build confidence. And just from doing this, I started to feel different. I was starting to get given opportunities that was well ahead of my time at my work, because I always stayed true to my word. I was super consistent. It didn't matter what happened. I did what I said. And people saw that, and they gave me opportunities for that. And this is what led to me starting a very successful investing business, where I was able to retire at 25 because I was making enough income from all the properties that I owned that it covered all my expenses to live, simply by just quitting drinking alcohol and then staying true to my word and building internal confidence is what led to all this success. So the third and the next secret to having this all compound over time is progressive overload. So if you really want to change your life in the next 3 months, you got to think about putting little steps forward. Little step forwards, getting little wins here and there, and let's progressively overload. No different than the gym. If you haven't worked out in the year, you just don't want to go out there and start doing your max weight on every single exercise. That's going to set you up for injury and failure. We're here, you just want to get little wins and progressively overload. So the story that I always share here is I had never read a book in my life. I'm dyslexic. I have a learning disability. I used to be the kid when they asked for you to read in front of the class, I would get terrified. It was like the worst time of my entire life. Hence why I barely showed up to any of my classes during high school, because I really just didn't want people to know how unintelligent I was from this learning disability and how much I lacked in terms of reading. But I came across, during this time where I quit drinking, I was really trying to find how I could fill my time, and I started getting really interested in business. Every person that I knew who was successful, they had some sort of business. So how could I do this? No education. I was a tradesman. I was a pipe fitter. Like, how can I get into business? And I saw this post of that the average CEO reads 52 books a year. So I was like, hey, if this is what someone who runs a company and that's what I want to do to get into business, well, I'm going to have to read books as well. I had never read a book in my entire life. Not even one finished from cover to cover. I'd never read an entire book. So that I started trying to read, and it was tough. It really, really was hard for me to do. It's just something that I struggled with. And so what I set out was parameters. Okay, I'm just going to read 2 pages today. And then I'd read 2 pages. Then the next day I'm like, okay, I want to read 5 pages. But then there's some days where like 5 pages took me a really long time. Like 5 pages used to take me sometimes half an hour just to read. And then I'd get extremely frustrated because I wouldn't know what words would mean. And it just kind of snowballed. So then I just stuck with, okay, I'm just going to read 5 pages for a week. And then the next week I read 10 pages. The next thing you know, I was reading 25, to where it got to the point where in about 3 months' time from doing that and upping it each week, I was now reading on average probably 3 to 4 hours a day, where I was reading over 100 pages just on books, and I was crushing books. And in that first year, I read like 75 books, going from never reading a book to even overachieving the 52 goal book mark that I set. But it took time. It was really hard for me to do at the start. I was trying to read, it was Awakening the Giant by Tony Robbins, and it was taking forever and ever, and I couldn't do it. And then I just started this progressive overload and just crushed the book. So you can literally do this in any sort of area of your life if you want to achieve this. If this is fitness, business, relationships, whatever you're going to do, just progressively overload it. And this is how I break down my business goals. Yes, I have very ambitious goals that I want to achieve, but I progressively overload, where I, like, when I first got into business, is like, okay, I don't know anything about marketing. So then for a whole entire year, all I tried to do was just learn a bit about marketing, to now where the point is I probably know more about marketing than someone that has a 4-year degree. And my Facebook ads and Google ads make a 10-to-1 return, but I didn't just go out trying to learn those all in one day. I progressively overloaded and focused on one thing for a period of time. So if you want to change your life in 3 months, you got to do these 3 things. So first one, become extremely self-aware and realize, what do I need to remove from my life? Mine was alcohol and some of my old friends, but for you, it could be drugs, it could be shopping, it could be food, it could be literally anything, but just be really self-aware. What is the one thing that if I removed it from my life, it would just improve almost every other aspect of it? And for me, that was alcohol. Number 2 is build that internal confidence. So like I shared during when I was talking about it, is I used to be extremely insecure because I was never true to my word. I never did what I said. If I set out some sort of goal, I never actually was true to the internal conversation that I have. So just set small little tasks that you're going to do in the day and make sure you achieve them. And I can guarantee you staying true to your personal word, no one else is going to know it, because it's the conversation you're having in your head is what's going to get you to start feeling more confident. And once you develop that confidence, you literally do feel indestructible. I still do have doubt, and there's some times where I know I can't quite do things, but just my personal belief with being true to my word, I know eventually that I'm going to accomplish whatever goals I set in front of me. It may take me a year, it may take me 5, but if I just keep being true to my word and never lose that internal conversation and do what I say, I'm going to win. And the third thing is progressive overload. So make sure that you're starting small and you're adding more reps as you go along. And this is what's going to be like compound interest, where you're just going to get better 3 months down the line. And I don't want people to think that I'm some sort of expert. I just think this video has extreme value, just sharing my own personal flaws and how I used to struggle immensely before I started my business journey and my wealth creation journey and my investing journey. And I know what it's like to feel like you have depression or you have anxiety and there's literally no way out. So I just want to share the tactics that have personally worked for me. I tried a whole bunch of different areas, talked to psychologists, tried prescription drugs, and never was able to seem to find something that actually would work. And really all I needed to do was remove drinking alcohol, and I felt extremely better, which then led me to being able to build some internal confidence because I was being true to my word, to then progressively overloading, to now running a very successful real estate business. And along my journey, I really do want to candidly share my failures, because I feel like that's with my audience what you're going to learn the most. And certainly I've had a lot of failures along this way, and I'm very excited to share with you how I've failed and how I've overcome that. So if you're someone that wants to continue learning from me and you want to hear my story more and how it can potentially help you achieve your goals and change your life in 3 months, the next video I'm going to be making is on my daily routine, and this was probably the next biggest thing that caused my life to change. So you're going to hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments down below if you struggle with anxiety or depression and how you're able to overcome them. Thank you, everyone. I'm Russell Mortlock. It was great to meet you.